So we are live and happening. So hello everyone, it's Alex from Being Better Balanced, and we are here with the lovely Karen from Birth and Baby Village. Karen is absolutely amazing. I need my little list here to go through all of the things that Karen has on her resume, because she's a childbirth educator, a breastfeeding and newborn educator. She teaches yoga and Pilates and is a birth doula, and so runs this fantastic facility up in Noosa called Birth and Baby Village. So welcome, Karen. How are you doing?
Yeah, very well, Alex. Lovely to be here.
Yeah, great. So we're so lucky to have Karen on. She's going to be talking to you guys about how we can kind of support ourselves and our brains and bodies during birth to have a really nice birthing environment, which I know is really relevant. We've had a heap of women reaching out just recently with everything going on with our world healthcare system at the moment, and wanting to birth more at home and things like that, wondering what they can do in hospitals to still have a really great birth experience. So Karen's going to go through all of that with us. And I suppose, Karen, one of the big things that you talk about is some of those things that we can do at home or in our birth experience, in our birth environment, to really maximize how our brain is going to approach birth and how our body is going to respond. And one of the big things you talk about is keeping the lights dim and all of that stuff. So tell us about that, why it's important, and what other things we can kind of do to help have that awesome birth environment.
Okay, so the process of birth is really very simple. Every mammal knows how to give birth to their babies, just like all the women do. And unfortunately, our head gets in the way a lot of the time. So we really have to create an environment where a woman can completely stop thinking and just be and allow her body to do its job. Yeah. And to do that, she needs a really special environment where she feels safe and private and unwatched and unhurried. Unfortunately, a lot of the time the hospital system doesn't necessarily support that. So that's why I train couples up during pregnancy, so that the partner can set up the birthing space first at home, because usually mums want to stay home as long as possible, and then in the birthing space, so that it's a really conducive environment for the birthing hormones to flow and for her body to do what it already knows how to do.
And that's something that you it's interesting you say that unhurried is a big thing, because I think when we go to hospital to birth, there is a bit of a stopwatch on us sometimes about, is everything progressing on time? Are we, going down that typical pathway, I suppose, of what's normal and what's not? So it's interesting that you say that if we're not in that environment where we feel safe and secure, that's not what's going to happen. So what are some of the things that you suggest to your couples when they're practicing and when they're heading into that birth phase? What are some of the big things you suggest to, really maximize that space?
Well, I tell them to start all the way through pregnancy, as soon as they can, practicing their relaxation skills, and for the partner to understand what's happening during birth, so that he or she knows how the mother might behave and what he can do to keep her feeling safe and comfortable. So it's really the partner's job, as the person who knows the birthing mother the best, to be her safety and support blanket, so that she can stop thinking, am I safe? Is this a safe environment for my labour to progress? And she can just let go inside, go to labour land, and not have to think, but just be, knowing that there's someone there protecting her. Yeah. It's so important. Yeah.
And so how do the lights being dim and having people we're familiar with and having soft, comfy, furnishings around, hi Louise, thanks for joining us, and all of that sort of thing, how do those things impact how our bodies and brains work during labour? Like, is it all brain based?
Well, it's mind-body connection, and that's what we teach in Calm Birth. So I teach lots of Calm Birth courses to couples, and I happen to bring my knitted uterus.
I love it.
I can actually knit uteruses. It's somebody's job, so that's wonderful. So look, our body, the process of birth is pretty straightforward. The cervix right now is closed, and when a woman goes into labour, she has contractions so that the cervix can ripen and soften and open to let the baby out. Now, that's a simple process, but there's a safety mechanism. So if the woman perceives that she's safe and in a safe place, then her cervix is going to just soften and allow itself to be pulled open by the contractions. If she doesn't feel like she's safe, if she feels like she has to be a little bit alert, if she's got a bit of adrenaline flowing through her body because she just can't relax because there might be people in the room who she doesn't know, or she feels uncomfortable, or she feels people are judging her or timing her, then it's going to produce stress hormones which immediately flow down to those circular muscles of the cervix and say, stay closed. It's just a mechanism. But it's what happens in so many labours because the environment's not right for the woman just to let go and allow her body to do its job.
Yeah. And I so love this topic as a chiropractor because I spend half my life explaining how our brain works in kind of that seesaw fashion of when we're stressed and feeling anxious or nervous, and how our body then responds when we're relaxed and calm and feel safe and secure. So it makes 100% total sense that it would be the same in our birth environment. So,
or even more so, perhaps, because it's a really totally vulnerable time. And if a woman's body doesn't perceive that it's safe right now to give birth to her baby, it's going to do everything it can to keep that cervix closed and make sure that baby's not born until it's safe.
Yeah, totally. So one of the things that I hear a lot from women is, but what if I'm not allowed to do this or to do that? And, what if they don't let me? How do you kind of respond to that? Because from my point of view, it's your birth, like to an extent, you get to do whatever is going to help you to feel safe and secure and birth your little one. So how do you kind of respond to those questions and those concerns by mums? Because they're very real concerns.
Absolutely. Am I allowed? And it's all very well for, we turn up as a birthing couple and we go into the hospital where there are all these experts who do birth every day, and surely they know so much more than we do. But we've got to remember, and I tell my clients from the moment I meet them all the way through my birth education classes, you're the client. In fact, you're the customer, and you are paying those people to come into your space and serve you. So be empowered, be assertive, and understand what your rights are. But then again, it's not a woman's job during labour to be assertive. It's a woman's job in labour to be the birthing mum. So that's why it's so vital that the partners receive really good education and understand that it's their job to do the thinking for the mum so that they can keep that space safe. And if there are decisions to be made, to make sure that they understand all the implications. And often what happens is the caregivers come in and say to the woman, I'm going to do this thing to you now. And most women say, okay. Well, they say, okay. And they don't realise that actually it's an offer. This is our hospital protocol or our policy, or this is what we routinely do. Would you like more information about this? And once you've got all of that information, would you like some time to make the decision about whether you would like this or not? Is it for you right at this moment? But couples have to be educated in that because
and know that it's their right to ask for it.
It's their right. It's their responsibility. It's their baby. It's so important. And so it's really important that they understand what their rights are.
Yeah, so important. So something that I guess I'm really big on with women, not only in practice, but family and friends as well, is that, I hear a lot of the time, I'm just going to see how it goes, or go with the flow, see what happens. And I'm a very organized person. Anyone who knows me will say she's OCD, just a fraction. But I think a birth plan is so valuable in this setting, because even if you don't know what you want to do, this gives you the perfect opportunity to explore that and work out, if the time comes and if everything doesn't go to plan, what do I want to do in this scenario or in that scenario? So is that something that you discuss with your clients as well, that you kind of feel is important, or are you more fly by the seat of your pants kind of situation and promote that idea as well? I'm judging by your facial expression. That's a
no. going with the flow. Often women end up with lots of things that they didn't expect and that they didn't want. In calm birth, we don't call it a birth plan, we call it birth intentions. And birth intentions gives couples the opportunity to stop and look at all the different interventions and the different procedures and things that the hospital could offer to them, and just get a little bit of an understanding about them. Because, you know, epidurals are really misunderstood, and so are inductions. People think, oh, I have an induction, that means I'm going in to have my baby tomorrow. But they don't realise what the implications are and how the cascade of intervention could end up in the area and what they didn't want. So a birth intentions document gives the couples that opportunity to stop and just do their research and consider what's really important to them. And then it becomes a document or a way for them to communicate with their caregivers how they would like to be cared for. Just like if you had a special dinner planned for your anniversary, you know, hopefully someone would ring the restaurant and say, look, we'd like a special table near the water, and could you have a rose on the table, and we'd like to make, you know, have a really beautiful meal. You're telling the restaurant how you would like to be cared for. Same thing with birth intentions. Vitally important.
So important. And I think as well at the moment, like I said at the start, there's a lot of women that are really panicking a little bit, I think, because with our current hospital system and the threat of COVID and all the rest, I'm hearing that a lot of women are unable to have their birth partner go with them to their appointments, and potentially that will then happen when they birth as well. So having that birth plan written up is maybe a really good, or birth intentions, I should say, I'm going to practice that, is you know, a good opportunity to go, right, I've got it on paper. So even if it ends up being just me, I've got something that, you know, is already written down. I don't have to consciously think about it and get out of my zone. It's there for people to observe, and, you know, to have the right kind of midwives and OBGYNs and whatever supporting you throughout that time. So,
yeah, I think that's a good start. I did some research today, and as far as I can tell, there are no birthplaces in Australia currently saying that the birth partner can't be there. So it's vitally important. Yeah, vitally important that that couples get really great birth education, and generally independent birth education is going to be higher. I don't want to say higher quality, but they're going to get more out of it, and much more understanding of how the mind affects the body and how the hormones work. Yeah. And lots of practical advice and guidance, so that the partner really knows all the different things that they can do to support the mum. Yeah. So I would say totally don't panic now, because the hormones flow through to your baby. We want mums and babies to stay calm, but now they need to really stop and think, what can I do to learn and practice calming skills every single day of the pregnancy?
Yeah, and that's so important, because it's not something, you know, it's not something that we just do overnight. For a lot of women, especially our first time around, we're not practiced at birth. We don't do it every day. So it's one of those things we need to be warming up to and preparing for. So when we look at resources and things, like you said, to stay calm and relaxed and in tune with your body, what sort of things, if you've got, for example, someone who's, you know, in their 8th month of pregnancy and right up to to their birth is where we're heading, and childbirth education's cancelled, you know, they're finding it difficult to get in to see their OBGYN, their midwifery appointments are being conducted over Skype or whatever it might be, what are some things that you would kind of suggest resource-wise for them to sink their teeth into?
Well, to start with, I'd say, why have you left your birth education so late? But I don't know that most couples would be leaving it this late. I think probably if you're 8 months pregnant, you've probably already done your birth education. I'd say you need to still be doing calm birth. I don't care if you have your baby the day after you finish calm birth, but those types
of... And a lot of those birth education classes are now doing it all online anyway, aren't they? So you can do it via Skype from your living room, or
I've just run a course over the last 2 weekends with couples. I'm just talking to them exactly like this. They're in their home, they're having to relax on their lounge, drinking their cups of tea, and practicing their birth positions and wiggling and jiggling with acupressure. So you know, our courses are still of the highest quality. And the thing about those birth education classes are we work on the subconscious mind and those deeply held beliefs that labour and birth has to be painful and horrible, and we're totally shifting those beliefs. So I'd say get in and do a calm birth course. All the courses have, most people have lowered their prices to, give people a hand. If they can't get a chance to do that, I'd be listening to whatever sort of birth relaxations they can get a hold of. I've just uploaded one of mine onto my website, onto my Facebook page. Awesome. I've made a beautiful relaxation and visualization for pregnancy.
Very good.
Even if you're not pregnant, you can listen to it. It's beautiful as well. And I would be practicing relaxation. I'd be learning some breathing skills and practicing those calming skills.
I'd
make that a priority to keep everybody as calm as possible.
No, it sounds like such a good idea. I think that's amazing. So thank you so much for joining us. We'll leave it there because I don't want to delve too much further into this stuff. That obviously people can head over to your website and find heaps more information and contact you there. But thank you so much for being a part of it. I think there's some brilliant little takeaways in here. And hopefully if you've got more questions, or if you are one of these mums who, your birth plan's changing a little bit given the current environment, or you're not really sure where you're at, head over, have a chat with Karen. She's absolutely wonderful. And everything can just about be conducted online at the moment too. So it doesn't really matter where you are in Australia. She'll be in the sunny coast and loving life in the sunshine anyhow, while we're all freezing in Victoria, but that's all good. I'll put all of your contact details down the bottom, and we'll be able to go from there. So thank you so much for joining us. I hope you've all enjoyed it, and we'll talk to you soon.
Thank you, darling girl. Bye.
Bye.
Bye.